Okay, what?
Good evening and welcome to the Bad Manners podcast. Name pending. We don't know if we're keeping that name, but that's a name for now. With Wills and
Mitchell!
Mitchell. We are going to be here to talk about whatever bullshit we feel like, whether it be Dota, Hearthstone, anime, furry porn, we run the gambit. We run the gambit here. And, how you doing tonight, Mitchell?
Oh, well, let me tell you right now, I just viewed, two very interesting cards,
Oh, yeah?
on the Hearthstone Facebook page. And let me tell you, too slow, but, man, you get this out of, like, Unstable Portal or what, if that's possible, holy crap, you just won the game.
All right, Mitch. Tell me about the cards. We'll start off with some Hearthstone. Tell me about these two cards. What are their stats? What are their effects? I wanna know it all.
These cards are far too slow for them to be, like, actually good, I think. But we have a 9-mana 9/9 called Blood of the Ancient One. If you control two of these at the end of your turn, merge them into the... Meaning, you have two of these on board, you get them out there somehow. I don't know how you would do this. They're neutral cards.
Yeah.
Two of them on board, you end your turn, you get a 9-mana 30/30 called the Ancient One.
You think you could potentially like Thorsan, so you could get them both out turn 10 or something?
I don't think that's the way I would go about it. You would have to play two of these in your deck, right? So basically, one would have to survive. I'm like picturing a scenario where you have like turn 9 this, it survives, and then play your other one. I'm not seeing like how you could actually get two on the board. Seems actually.
Here's an idea. What if you were playing Mage and you would you duplicated them or played Echoes of Medivh or whatever, and got copies?
Go. See, but those don't go right onto the board, which is why I'm worried it's going to be like far too slow.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's going to be run. You'll see it in those crazy decks that they hit, and they win their games.
What about like Rogue concealing one and then playing the next one?
Well, see, there's where it's like you almost have to hit it with a Thorsan. Because you need to...
Yeah. Well,
you'd have to get one for 8 and then have another one for 9 the next turn.
Yeah.
And already. They are epic cards, so I mean, obviously, you don't actually have to make a new one.
Yeah.
You don't have to, like, copy it somehow, so, like, at least that's there, but I just... If this is actually in the meta at all, BGH, my friend.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that with a lot of these cards, I mean, a lot of the big cards, you just got to be like, oh well, BGH.
Yeah.
Is happening.
It just looks too insane.
No, it seems really cool though. It seems cool. It's a cool idea, and that's what I like. I like interesting new ideas in Hearthstone. You know.
Me too. I'm not gonna lie. It's like such a sweet deal, but I just don't see where it'll see play. And obviously, if this is in arena, which I don't know, because some of the like old god stuff isn't in arena.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna be able to get two of these, and you probably won't be able to replicate them. So it's a 9-mana 9/9 stat line. Not good enough.
Yeah, I think that it all comes down to how the meta goes. You know, if it turns out that we're getting to turn 10 every single game, maybe it's worthwhile. But if it kind of continues as is now, that is not the case. you know. But no, that's fine. All for that topic. We will move on. I think that the topic we are all burning, Kappa, to talk about is Dota, and not only that, but Doom.
Favorite heroes. One of my favorite heroes of all time, and people will say that's dumb because press R.
Press
no
R,
fun.
win game, dude.
Yeah. Turns out, if you actually landed on a hero, you actually win your game.
Really, I saw a pretty good game today where they had trouble with that concept, but they managed to sort it out.
They did indeed. It was quite funny to watch.
That was just one of those games where you got the puck and you're like, man, this puck is doing so well. I love playing puck. I love winning on puck. And then they're like, oh, we got a kill on the puck. Therefore, we are ridiculously ahead now. And you're like, well, fuck.
I doomed a creep in the previous fight. No problem. It's fine.
Mitch, we're not going to mention the creep dooming. Come now. That's just mean at this point.
Dude, bad manners. Come on, what do you want from me?
That's actually bad. That's actually bad manners, dude.
That's how we roll here. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's more than fair, in fact. Okay, so Doom is being picked. Why do you think that Doom is seeing such a resurgence right now, as opposed to how it was at the start of this patch?
Well, honestly, I would just say people are letting OD through right now, which I would view as a very bad thing. I wouldn't want to play ever. We always ban it unless we have first pick.
Hey, didn't we play a really sick game against a Doom? Against an OD, I mean, and fucking get our shit wrecked? Arguably, we also let through Chen.
Chen. Yeah, we won't talk about that.
We'll get to that later, but so
Doom in the meta. So this is a pretty aggro meta, right?
Absolutely.
Based on what the pro scene is. So it's like having a hero that can just go from the jungle into lane very quickly to harass mid lane, harass off lane, harass save lane. Very good, especially when you can get quick level 2 by just eating one creep and killing another.
Yeah.
I personally love playing Enigma. That's my favorite jungler.
Is it now, Mitch? I don't think I knew that, but maybe our guests are new to that idea.
They are new to that. You, sir, yes, you may not be new to that, but they are. Yeah, it's super good at getting early levels because you just kill creeps with your creeps very fast. Doom eats creep is awesome Iron Talon to kill the other. You have level 2, and you have Scorched Earth. You just run at people with your Scorched Earth and kill them. I don't know. Seems pretty self-explanatory to me.
Yeah, well, it seems that way to me as well. I think it's just a really good hero right now. There's no other way around it.
It's a fact.
But do you think that it's worth like a first phase ban? It's being picked up in the first phase. There's no doubt there.
No.
But is it just like a counter pick hero?
The reason it gets through is because in the first phase, in my opinion, 3 heroes need to be banned. Right? You need to ban
Chen.
Earth Spirit. Okay, I wasn't gonna go in alphabetical order, but whatever. Chen, fine.
Yeah.
Ban that hero. You just ban it. It's too good. Otherwise,
okay.
You have good old Earth Spirit who's broken AF.
That's 2.
You got Invoker. Doesn't matter. Early laning stage, yeah, you get a little down, but don't worry. In the mid game and late game, you'll win 9 out of 10 games.
That's a bold statistic, but I believe you.
And then the fourth hero that it honestly depends, I guess, on what you believe your opponent's going to play. But more often than not, you see the OD go out. Sometimes you'll see a bounty hunter. Sometimes Enchantress, Faceless Void. The top three are pretty self-explanatory. They're going to happen almost every game.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But with Doom, it just gets through, and then people pick up the Beastmaster, pick up the OD if it gets through. They pick up the Earth Spirit if it gets through. Well, it turns out when you have one hero that can play the 4 position, get some pretty early levels with farm and such, it's pretty easy to see that it's very early. It's very good early for harassment and such. I don't know. I'm not very explaining it very well. My mind is rather befuddled.
No, I understand. I understand what you're getting at for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to elaborate on it a little bit. I just think that the hero itself is just incredibly strong.
I think that I think what we're getting at here is that Doom is a really good hero, but it's a good hero to pick against other heroes rather than to pick on its own merits, right? If you ban the Doom and you let a Chen through, most teams are going to pick up Chen, except for like EG, Kappa, Kappa, or what other teams don't even run Chen? I don't even know. Almost all teams can run Chen at this point, but it just seems to me that there are the top 4 or 5 even heroes that are worthy of first phase bans, and it's just not worth it to pick. It's not worth it to ban the Doom when you don't. When if they pick a Doom, you can just like draft around it. Although that's starting to get a little harder nowadays because Doom is just winning so many games.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Next topic. I like vanilla. You like Manila. Tell me about the Manila invites. Who do you think is going to be there?
Oh man.
First of all, okay, we'll do this first. Do this first.
Go for it.
How many teams do you think should be invited?
8.
8
That's
teams.
pretty self-explanatory, I think.
8 teams. So what they've been doing is what you think they should keep doing. Why 8,
Yep.
Mitchell? Why 8?
Why 8? I mean,
What did 8
yeah.
ever do for you?
No, I mean, so you want to allow teams from every region, all the four major regions, Europe, America, Asia, and Southeast or China and Southeast Asia, to have the opportunity to send at least 2 teams to the tournament. That's only fair. I think that maybe you or like. I don't think you can make the argument now, but before the Shanghai Major, you could make the argument that America and SEA only deserve 1 play-in team.
Okay.
Not invite, play-in team from their region. But, I mean, Complexity had a really good showing. Obviously, Fnatic, BP Phoenix have been playing out of their minds recently for the SEA region. So I think it's only fair that all 4 regions get two play-in teams. Now, that gives us 8, right?
That's
so
8.
For invites, you're looking at 8 teams too. Now, for myself, I would just take the teams that placed top 8 at the previous major.
You think the top 8 teams should just get a straight invite?
I think that's exactly how it should go because you formed at the last major, and I think you should be rewarded for doing such a good job at a very prestigious or big event.
And that is where, my friend, I will not strongly, but strongly disagree with you. I
I mean,
think
I thought you might, but
I think that, and this is where it gets interesting, boys and girls, because disagreeing and everything is boring as fuck. Look at it this way, Mitchell. Is EG the same team now as it was at the last major?
no, it is not.
No, it is not.
It doesn't have the same roster.
It doesn't have
let's
the
say
same
that.
roster. Oh, so you're saying in the world of esports, in the wild and wacky, wonderful world of esports, rosters are about as stable as you on a unicycle.
Love the analogy, but yeah, I guess they're unstable-ish.
Unstable-ish.
Hey, dude, some of my favorite teams have stuck together for a very long time. You know, they had to shake up their rosters and whatnot. It happens.
Name one team. Name one team. You can't. You're a fake gamer girl. You're a fake gamer girl.
Name one team that what?
Name
Yeah,
one
well,
Dota team. You can't.
you
That's a
can't.
fact.
Fact. Okay. So, what would you suggest for just invite the top 8 teams in the world based on talent, based on results between majors, not even really look at the previous major, as it's probably going to be played on a different patch.
No, absolutely not. I think that the first thing you look at, right? I think it has to be kind of tiered, right? It has to be tiered. You can't just look at one thing and be like, this is the one thing I look at. I think
Sure.
that you look at the placement, right? I think that top 6 teams of the 8 should be looked at the most closely. I think
Fair.
that you should be saying things like, all right, these top 6 teams, how much have they stuck together as far as rosters go, right? If the rosters are unchanged, let's say theoretically, if Alliance had won the last major, which they didn't, they did not. If they had won the last major, and their roster had not changed at all, would they deserve an invite? Absolutely. They were the reigning champions. Their roster hasn't changed. They deserve the invite.
Sure.
I think then next you look at how has the roster change affected the team, right? I think Secret is a great example of a team where they were the reigning champions, right? But they had a huge roster change,
Sure.
Do they still deserve an invite? I would argue yes, because their roster change has arguably strengthened the team, or at least kept it about the same level.
Sure. I mean, you can look at EG as being a prime example of letting go of Owie 2000, who helped, make that team what it was, a champion.
Yeah.
And they just dropped him for Arteezy, bringing him back, and
Did
obviously
the roster
no
get
problem with that.
stronger? And
Yeah,
well,
sure did.
that's up for serious debate, maybe another
Yeah.
time. But
Right, but
I
if you're
would
looking
say,
at pure talent of player, you would almost unanimously agree that Arteezy is. But
yeah.
let's get back to the point of the Manila Major. We're sort of like tangenting a little.
Yeah, it's fine. My point is that you can't just look at one thing. I think that you look at the strength of roster, you look at performances, and you look at how they have been performing in the in between, right?
Sure.
I think that teams like MVP Phoenix, for example, they've shown
Alright.
that they are worthy of an invite. They've been performing at a top level and
Sure.
are definitely worthy of an invite based on their previous performance, right?
Yep.
I think Secret, same thing. I think Complexity is another example of a team that has been performing consistently and deserves the invite.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's
or make a list.
Let's just start from the top. Okay.
Okay,
First invite is the winner of the previous major.
that's Secret.
That would be Secret, regardless of roster shuffle. Unless there were 5 completely new members to that team, Team Secret was getting an invite.
Absolutely, I can't argue with that.
Oh.
Who got
Okay.
second place, Mitchell? It was
Second place was Team Liquid. Any roster changes? Nope.
None.
Love it. I love when teams stay together. I think it helps build a name brand.
I am a huge fan of Kuroki,
It's
as everyone should know. If you don't know it now. I love Kuroki. I fucking love that man. I think he is an incredibly smart player, and I'm really happy that Team Liquid is doing well. So I think they obviously top 2 is inarguable. It's awesome, and they definitely deserve the invite.
correct. So I think they're at 2 in for sure, penciled in. Number
Number 3. Who got third place was
Shanghai Major was
EG.
Evil Geniuses.
Does EG still deserve an invite? This, I think, is the first point of contention. Controversially, I will say that I think they deserve an invite.
Evil Geniuses deserves an invite. Their roster did not shuffle enough for them to be a completely different team.
And
they still have wait a second.
Okay, continue.
They have 3 members, all of whom were on the International 5 winning roster, and 3 people from the roster that took 3rd at Shanghai. What did they get at Frankfurt? 3rd again?
Probably 3rd or 2nd or something. Something embarrassing like that.
Let's find out. I'll just go here. Frankfurt's Major, they took 3rd. So, inarguably, they have been one of the most consistent teams in Dota for the past half a year. Definitely getting an invite.
Okay, that's fine. Who got 4th?
4th place, the Shanghai Major, was MVP Phoenix.
I wonder if they get an invite, Mitch. What do you think?
They're getting an invite. They went ahead after the Shanghai Major, went to Dota Pit, took first, 3-0'd Evil Geniuses.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
They may have gone out early in the qualifiers for the Manila Major in the C region to Warrior Gaming.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that you cannot send them an invite the way that they've been playing in the scene over the last 4 months.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more.
So that's what I would say. Any thoughts there on the top 4 that we're looking at?
I think that the top 4, the only team in the top 4 right now who you could even make arguments against would be Evil Geniuses. And personally, I think that having the strength of their roster has not significantly diminished. We have not seen them play, I will add.
Yep.
But I think that at the end of the day, you've got one of the best drafters and captains in professional Dota. You've still got a super high quality mid laner. You've got one of the best supports in Dota and one of the most consistent and veteran players of all time in Fear, right?
Sure.
And I think that with Owie on carry, maybe we will see some. Maybe we'll see a better interaction than before.
Yep.
When they had some issues. But okay, that's top 4. So who got 5th place, Mitchell?
5th place, 5-6. Shared. The SEA for the 5th, 6th place spot was Fnatic.
Fnatic.
I would love to hear what you think about Fnatic getting an invite because, as I say, I think the top 6 teams. You're not going to give me top 8. I would say top 6 absolutely deserve an invite to the next major. But I would love to hear what you think about Fnatic here in this.
I think what we got to look at right now is how have the specifically 5 and 6, right?
Specifically 5 and 6.
Specifically 5 and 6, I would say you have to look at their performances. If they had big breakups or like right after the major, they just performed really poorly, I think that your invite status is a little iffy. Fnatic, I think, is a great example of a team that has performed amazingly after the major and deserves an invite, in my opinion.
Sure. Good. I'm glad we agree because I was really hoping that you were going to agree with me on this one. I definitely think Fnatic deserves an invite. I think that it's not only just that they got top 6 at this major. They also qualified through the Southeast Asia qualifier for ESL One Manila, and also qualified for Epicenter in Moscow in May
Yep.
before the major. So I just think that one, they finished well in an international tournament, and now in their region they are somewhat dominating. So that's what you want to see for a team that should be invited.
Absolutely. I think that basically what it comes down to is, do we think that SEA, is a strong enough region where a top 1, top 2 team should get the invite? And I would say right now, yes, absolutely. Based on major performance and based on post-major performance, Fnatic deserves the invite.
Great. I don't see how they can't get one.
Now, who's the other 5-6 team?
Oh, we got good old quote unquote American team Complexity game.
Quote unquote American. Get out of my country. I'm building a fucking wall. I'm building a wall.
Three Danes and 2 Americans. Technically, there's more Europeans than Americans. So
listen, Mitchell. My parents didn't come over to this country to be immigrants forever. You gotta assimilate. They live in America, they play in America, and they fucking win in America, boys.
Absolute fact.
I am in love with Swindle Melons. I don't know your opinion on Swindle Melons.
Dude, Swindle Melons is like
Kappa Pride.
What I want from I want one guy on each Dota team to be like this guy. He literally brings energy, I believe, to the room when he's there speaking. It's fantastic. We need more personalities like him to show up in the scene. It's so good. So good.
And not only that, he supports Bernie Sanders, so I mean...
Okay, I don't know shit about politics, so we're not going to go there.
We all know that. No one more than Megan, right?
Obviously.
So I think that Complexity, it comes... Okay, they were a top 6 team. How have they performed after the major, Mitchell?
Well, not unlike Fnatic, their 5-6 counterpart, they have also qualified for Epicenter and ESL One Manila.
Handily, I might add. Handily. Are they a top? Are they a top 2 team in the Americas? Yes.
Yep.
Are they? Is North America then a strong enough region where a top 2 team deserves an invite to the major?
I mean, I'm just saying they got the ESL One Manila, right? They won that qualifier. They won the Epicenter qualifier. They got 3-4 at oh god, I'm blanking. They got 3-4 at Dota Pit after their 5-6 Shanghai major performance.
Yep.
I mean, they're performing on a global level and in the Americas. I don't think right now there's any possible reason why they wouldn't get an invite.
I couldn't agree more. I think that what it comes down to is that even though North America, the Americas, is a weak region, right? Possibly bottom 2 right now. Yep. Overall, I think that the consistency of Complexity, and especially of their roster, is starting to shine through like a fucking laser beam, right? Their performance is so consistent and so good. I think now with the shakeup of EG, they're like almost nemesis team at this point, right? The team that no matter how well they do, EG has always had their number. Right. Perhaps with this shakeup and arguably diminishment in strength of EG, Complexity might be close at their level now, right?
Yep.
And I think that they deserve an invite, right? I think that's obvious at this point. But I'm just so excited to see how they continue to perform in future. I think if they can continue to stick together and just keep playing, keep drafting. I know that they can do really, really great things. And I'm just excited to be along for the ride, you know?
Sure. Alright. Well, we covered the top 6.
Top 6 covered.
As far as you're giving me for how you place at the previous major. So, basically, now we have 2 more direct invite slots. You may have noticed we haven't mentioned any one Chinese team among the top 6. Or, for that matter, among the top 8. Their Chinese scene in general is a complete mess.
Absolutely.
It has so much talent. This was their home turf, and not a single team finished top 8. Not even the best team in the world at this point, eHome, who didn't even make it into the upper bracket.
Didn't even make it to the upper bracket, which is ridiculous.
It's too over the top. If there's a team that deserves an invite, I don't see it yet, because the invites are gonna have to go out here
very shortly.
sometime soon. So, if we're gonna look at 2 qualifiers, right, which I've used to make the case for Complexity and Fnatic, we're gonna look at these 2 qualifiers. You look for teams like eHome and LGD, who during the roster shuffle really improved, I think, the actual skill on their team.
Yeah.
None of them won these qualifiers. In fact, eHome, who did make the Epicenter Grand Final, got shut out by a newbie led by Chuan. And in ESL 1 Manila, Wings Gaming took down Vici Reborn. Mind you, not Vici. Vici Reborn.
Vici Reborn, which is arguably a stronger
team than their older brother team.
Yeah.
They might say.
Well, I would argue that by splitting up the team in the weird way they did, it they made the team just really weird and weak for no reason.
Sure. So, right now, when you're looking at qualifiers for these major tournaments that are going to happen before the major, unfortunately, after the invites go out, it's like, who did best? Like, Newbie, they got a 9-12 finish, and then they won a qualifier with basically the same roster that they had for the major. Not exactly, I don't believe. I think they switched up one person, but pretty much they were one of the more stable rosters during the shuffle of China, which was arguably the biggest roster shuffle across all regions.
Yeah.
So currently, right now, whichever Chinese team shows up best in their region, I believe will get an invite, even though I don't think they actually deserve one.
I think you're totally correct, and it is unfortunate, in my opinion. I think that the feeling that we have to invite a Chinese team because if we don't, then China will hate us or whatever. It's just it's just an unfortunate reality of the situation, and it's really unfair because there have been many times where an SEA team has not received an invite, right? Even the top SEA team in the region.
Right.
And with China's incredibly lackluster performance at the last major, it's just so hard to invite a team. Personally, I would say that you run the qualifiers, top 2 teams of the qualifiers, they get to go same as every other region, right? The invite should go to people who deserve it. And I just don't feel like the Chinese teams deserve it right now. They haven't proven themselves yet, to me. My opinion doesn't fucking matter, but you know.
Dude, this podcast is about them opinions, man. I mean, I would argue that that no Chinese team should be invited. That would be my argument. If you were going to send a Chinese team, I think it has to be newbie. LGD and eHome finished 9-12. But since the shuffle, Newbie has kept a somewhat similar roster and won a qualifier for Epicenter. I think that might be enough to get them invited, but currently, like eHome, they got second in a qualifier. That's fine, but it's still not an amazing result. They got knocked out in the ESL One Manila Chinese qualifier.
Yeah.
They didn't even go to it for some reason. Why? So it's like they're not putting their best foot forward. So it's like if any team gets an invite, it should be Newbie because they've actually played then and succeeded. The other team you could mention is Wings Gaming because even though they haven't shown up at the major, they've been in every qualifiers since like the qualifier thing happened. So like TI, 2 majors, they've won a qualifier as well. And they've been playing relatively consistent Dota with the same roster that they've had for the last 6 months.
Yeah, but they're filthy fucking cheaters, for one.
Are they?
Yeah, man. Don't you remember the what was it? Oh, fuck me. The event where Leviathan got like shafted hard.
Okay.
What event?
WCA?
Yeah, WCA. That's what I meant.
Okay, what happened with Wings at that event?
Yeah, there was an issue where one of the players' girlfriends was going over and watching and taking pictures of the opponent's draft before the matches. Like the practice drafts and
I'm a
stuff.
filthy casual then. I don't know all that shit. So
They talked about it on the Around the Pit one time.
yeah, well, you know, I don't always listen while I'm watching that, so it's fine.
That's okay. Moral of the story is that I think that in the history, and you can quote me on this, in the history of the majors and of internationals, no team has ever been invited directly without having shown up at a previous major or TI. Ever. That's a fact. So it could happen. It could very well happen, but...
And I almost got you. I almost got you. I'm this close, except for the fact that Vega was in the wild card round of the TI previous to the Frankfurt Major.
I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true.
So fucking close. So close.
Dude.
Sucks.
It does
All
suck,
right.
doesn't it? It sucks. It sucks
Feels
debating me
bad.
because you're always gonna be wrong.
Always wrong. And always finds a loophole. So we agree that no Chinese team should get an invite. They should have to play in the SEA and America region.
I believe none should.
Event.
If a Chinese team got an invite, I think it would be a toss-up between eHome and Vici Reborn. I think that Vici Reborn has impressed me so far, but are they impressive enough to deserve an invite? Not in my opinion.
Right now, no Chinese team is impressive enough to garner an invite after the shuffle and after that pathetic performance in Shanghai.
Pathetic is a perfect word for it.
Pathetic is a perfect word for it. I mean, they had one team in the top 8. That was LGD.
Keep in mind, the only team that Chinese teams beat was fucking Archon.
Lol.
Can we take a moment of silence for our fallen brethren, Elite Wolves and Archon, cheating Americans?
Damn Americans cheating all the time.
Feels
Whatever.
Bad.
Competitive advantage, that's what it's all about. Okay, on to the last 2 invites to this major currently.
Last 2 invites. Who are you thinking?
Well, you might agree with my 2 invites, but you might just on the principle that they finished 7-8 at the previous major. That would be OG and Alliance. Reasons why. Rosters not shuffled. Reason 2. OG finished 3-4 at Mars. They also did super well going into the Shanghai major. Doing a lot of... Let's see, what we got. We got first at Dream League, Season 4. We got second at the Defense. We got third at Mars Dota, fourth at the Summit 4. So, that would be an argument for OG. Alliance, all you have to do is look at their Wikipedia page, and you got, World Cyber Arena, first place. Star Ladder, first place. 7-8 at Shanghai. Now, they haven't played much since, but arguably, they haven't swapped their roster, and they finished top 8.
Yeah.
So I believe with no roster changes on either roster, finishing top 8 at the previous major and having various accolades prior to the major, they get invited. That's what I would say.
Okay, that's a strong argument. What other teams do we think could be in the running other than OG and Alliance, who are both strong contenders? I will concede that.
Take a look. Teams that we haven't mentioned for invite yet: eHome, Vici Reborn, Newbie, but we've already decided no Chinese teams getting it.
Fuck them.
Fuck 'em. CDEC, LGD, other Chinese teams. The problem with I'm like just going down the rankings list on joindota.com, and right now the top ranked team that we have not discussed that's not Chinese is Vega Squadron.
Vega.
But once again,
It's hard to invite them.
It's hard to invite them because one, they haven't had any really crazy results outside of SI League Invitational. They won that over Team Spirit 3-0. Like, so for a qualifier, they won a qualifier with their new roster. That's good. But, and they only changed one roster position. That was FN in the mid. Well, I think he's playing carry for them. But, so technically they only switched one player, where a lot of other teams switched at least two.
Many more.
So that's one thumbs up for Vega, I guess. Next highest, Virtus Pro. There was a lot of reshuffling. Arguably, Polarity might be better than Virtus Pro.
I'm not sure what is going on with Virtus Pro right now.
I mean, I love their roster. They kicked some butt today. I mean, FNG, God, Yoki, No Fear.
The problem with VP, to me, is I look at them and I see Vici. I see, like, eHome. I see these teams, like, their rosters are fucking golden. Like, you've got G on mid. One of the best mid players of all time. Like, you've got these players that are just so incredibly good. I'm like, there's no way that a team with this much talent, right? There's no way a team with this much talent should be doing this poorly. Like, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not even like they're like, oh, we just got a bunch of 7K players together, like, pub around. Like, this team has had its core consistent for so long and had been doing so well previously.
Yep.
You know? So it's just strange to see how poorly they are doing when they have the name brand to back them up the way they do.
So, obviously, I'm not sure if there's an American team or an SCA team outside of Fnatic or MVP that deserve an invite. Which honestly leaves, I think, OG Alliance, Vega, I guess, VP, I guess. I guess you could put Navi in there, but I don't. They've had some decent finishes, but nothing crazy.
Navi needs to win something.
Right. I think Team Spirit, they got a solid roster. They were at the last major, but there was so much of a shuffle that I don't know if they deserve it. Empire has been playing really well with their new roster recently, but it's very recent, and they're only playing in EU. So it's like you're looking at like EU and China in a bubble, and you're like, what other two teams deserve an invite? And it's like, what teams kept their rosters together? Two teams did that. Alliance and OG.
Yeah.
What rosters have performed recently in the last 3 months? Arguably, OG and Alliance have arguably done the best of any of those teams mentioned, including all the Chinese teams, outside of like maybe eHome, who is still ranked number 1 in team ranking. Don't ask me why. I don't understand Join Dota's ranking.
They're probably a little behind.
Maybe a little bit. So, look at it, and that's why I think the argument this time favors me for the top 8 teams, only because of how it actually fell. I think OG and Alliance are the clear choices. If you want to send a Chinese team, you send Newbie or you send E home based on the previous achievements prior to the last major. But then again, there was the E home roster shuffle, so
Okay.
those are the 4 teams I would argue.
So let's say one Chinese team gets invited, whoever, for the 8th slot. Would you take OG or Alliance? Which one would you prefer?
I would take OG.
You would take OG. I would take Alliance.
Okay.
Why would I take Alliance, Wills? I'll tell you fucking why. Because Alliance has been underperforming. Not even that. They underperformed at the major, but they are still a super, super strong squad overall. I think that something was in the water. They just didn't perform how they usually do. And I think when Alliance is on point, they've been destroying people. And I think it's hard to ignore that. I really like Alliance. I think that they're just an overall very strong team. I think that their consistency has really been showing. I think OG is very strong too. Don't get me wrong. I think OG is a very scary team, but if we're looking at that 8th slot, I prefer Alliance over OG. But it's definitely a point of contention, and I don't think there's a correct answer for that one.
All right. Well, I'll just tell you that I definitely think OG gets invited over Alliance. If that were to be the case, yes, Alliance performed better in the interim between majors, but OG is a winner of a major. So they have that going for them. And they've had respectable results in between the major and after this Shanghai major. So with a similar finish to Alliance, who arguably before 6.86 and the interim between the 2 majors didn't perform basically at all, I would say that OG with their stable roster and overall better performance at Valve events recently, they should get the invite. I mean, they have it literally says OG with a little trophy next to them for the fall major, so it's like that's pretty good. And they've at least been playing since the major. Alliance has not played at all, so one thing to possibly consider. Now I get boot camping and stuff like that, but still.
Yeah, I think you have a point. The team I would love to see, the team I would really love to see invited, which is not happening, they're going to have to win their way in, is Na'Vi. I want to see Na'Vi back at a major, man.
They do. They always have the opportunity. They qualified for the, what was it? Yeah, they qualified for the Frankfurt major. I don't recall. One of the two. I mean, I would love to see him back there. I think they can. I think European qualifiers, though, are just going to be
so tough,
incredibly difficult. I'm very worried, especially if Alliance or OG do not get invited. I'm very worried about like a team outside of one of those two who I think would be favorites. We're gonna send 2, but who's gonna be the second one? I think Vega's got a strong opportunity. Team Spirit, Navi's right there, Empire's right there.
And teams like No Diggity, I think have been
Adfinem. Oh my gosh, Danish Bears, dude! These guys have been playing like incredible since the major.
Yeah,
so
and
I think it's very.
And the best part is you can talk about all these teams, and they're all sitting right there. Like, I mean, if you made every single one of those teams play a best of 3 against each other, there would be no team that would clearly come out on top, right?
Yep.
Like,
no, I agree.
I mean, these teams are all like 2-1 against each other, kind of thing. Yep. And I love it. I think that's awesome for Dota. And I think that that's a sign of a really, really strong scene.
Agree. So, the only thing I worry about with... Yeah, so the only reason I'm very worried about Fnatic and Complexity not getting invited... Now, this is going back to the invites where we said Complexity and Fnatic, they've done enough that where I think they should get an invite, right?
Absolutely.
But the problem with them getting invites is that their scenes in general are a tier below Europe and China, theoretically.
Yeah.
So you're giving 2 more teams from each of those regions. Have 2 more teams from each of those regions going to the next major. Means you'll have a total of 8 teams from the 2 weakest regions, theoretically.
Yeah.
Going to the major. might, in general, bring the competition at the major down some. What do you think about that possibility? Because we're going to see teams like Shazam, who I think has been playing well. Like they'll have the opportunity. I would say Elite Wolves, but sorry guys, not this time.
See you later, boys.
Like Team Freedom and other South American Dota teams. This comes to mind. Pain Gaming with their new roster.
Yeah.
Like two of those teams are coming to the next major if we give Complexity and EG the invite. And then for SEA, you have Execration, you have Mineski, who I really like, by the way. Nothing against Mineski. Signature Trust. Your gaming esports. Like, these teams that are considered Tier 2 in their region, Tier 3 worldwide, 2 of them are going to get to the major. What are your thoughts, assuming that Complexity, Fnatic, EG, and MVP all get invited?
I think that it's not fair to look at the region's strength over the team strength, right?
Yeah.
I think that EG, for example, has been a top 1 team in the world, was a top 1 team in the world, top 3 team at least, for a long time, and they'd always get invites, even though America was almost a joke. Like, it's based on their performance against other top-tier teams, and I think that Fnatic and Complexity have had consistently good performances against international teams. It's not like they're sitting around shit stomping on like Leviathan every day, like Shazam, right? It's not like, oh man, we managed to beat like a Tier 2 American team over and over again. Amazing. Command,
dude, I'll tell
please.
you what. I'm just gonna throw this in there real quick. The Epicenter qualifier grand final Shazam versus Complexity was out of this world. It was a 5-game series. It was so incredible. Complexity almost threw it in Game 5. They had it. They almost threw it. They luckily did not throw it. Okay, sorry. It was incredible. It was an incredible series. I like Shazam. They're up and coming. They got a really good chance at this qualifier. Okay, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay. I guess my point just was, I think it's not fair to judge a team by its region. I think you have to look at their own merits. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm not worried about the invites. What I'm worried about is the pool at the major, the talent level. Like when you went into this last major, you were like, every single one of these teams, sorry Archon, deserved to be there, like talent wise.
Yeah.
You just looked at them and you're like, oh man, all these teams are here. Sorry Archon. They're gonna do work. I mean, before the tournament, even I was like, Archon's gonna take a game off somebody.
Did they?
Sorry guys.
They tried to.
They tried. They really did.
No.
But
enough shitting on Archon. The point is, my friend, that it doesn't. The only thing I would argue that taking in an extra Chinese team who doesn't deserve to be there does not increase the overall talent level. In fact, it decreases it because you would have 2 Chinese teams, right? If just from the qualifier, the 2 Chinese teams from the qualifier who like worked hard and played to get to where they are, right? Which shows to some degree they deserve to be there. But if you invite one, then you've got 3 Chinese teams, and it's more likely that one of those 3 doesn't really deserve to be there as much, right?
Okay.
But if you invite, if it kind of comes down to who are you inviting instead of Fnatic, instead of Complexity. If you're inviting a team like Alliance or OG over them, then maybe you can have the discussion of, yeah, we thought it was better to weight Europe more heavily because they're more competitive. But if you're taking a team like LGD or eHome or Vici Reborn, then, in my opinion, you're looking at weakening the overall pool. It has one less top tier team that gets to make it in my opinion. So I would say that I think that you judge the team on its own merits, and you can't really complain about the qualifiers, because the teams that win are the teams that deserve to be there because they played to get in, right?
Yep.
And it is what it is. If you think that you deserve an invite and you don't get it, surely you should be able to play into top 2 in your region.
Absolutely.
And I
I'm
think
not
that
disagreeing.
if you don't think that you can play into the top 2 in your region, like DC, right? DC was considered a top tier American team, but they lost out to Archon, for fuck's sake. Like, that just showed that they weren't ready.
Yep.
I mean, they lost a best of 3 to Archon, and Archon didn't win a single fucking game. And it sucks. Maybe DC would have won a game. Maybe they wouldn't have, but you can't base your decisions off of that.
Sure. Nope, absolutely. Dude, I'm totally with you. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous just because, like, there were a lot of top tier Chinese teams we thought we were going to do well. They didn't do as well. And, that means that they should only have 2 teams at this next major, just because of how they performed at the previous major and their performance since, and the shuffle. So, stinks for them, but they did it on themselves. All they needed to do was perform a little bit, So, it's,
I agree.
just... no worries. I think hopefully we'll see what we're saying. If a Chinese team gets invited, I won't be super surprised, and I won't be super pissed, because the region is a hotbed of talent, and somebody surely will get invited. I feel for the team that doesn't get the invite over those Chinese teams that had the major shuffle and the bad performance of Shanghai.
Yeah,
So
I definitely agree.
we'll see what Valve says. I mean, this is going to show a lot about Valve. They're going to be like, is outside performance of majors very, very, very important, or is it the major position, like how you do at the majors, like actually really affect how you'll be viewed for the next one? So that's going to be
you're not
crucial.
wrong.
So you haven't seen it. To be completely honest, you haven't seen since TI the 2 previous majors. You haven't seen a Chinese team in the top 3. So it's I don't know whether that says EU is super good, and
Maybe it's the patch.
Yep, maybe it's the patch. We don't know. No.
Okay, well, I think that we're getting close to wrap up time, but I think as we cool down from our heated discussions, I think it's time to talk about some more casual shit, Mitchell. Tell me, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching?
One
Punch! Fantastic anime. It's your first anime. I wouldn't recommend One Punch Man, but
really, why not?
Well, I think there's a lot of, like, as it says, parody in the, like, genre subtitles. It's like there's a lot of parody in this, like, where if you watch other anime, you'll, like, see this in other anime, and they, like, do it to the nth degree in this one, just to, like, not pretty much make fun of it somewhat. It's a lot of fun. The art style is fantastic. Some people didn't like it, but I'll tell you what, it looks kick-ass. It looks kick-ass every episode. So I've been watching that, and obviously I've been watching, like, a lot of Epicenter. The one Frankfurt qualifiers just started for EU, so we're watching a lot of those. Liking what I'm seeing from a lot of the new rosters. So, but that's about it. I think there's the Archon in-house league for Hearthstone coming up this weekend. Probably, if I don't go down, see my girlfriend, I'll probably watch a bunch of that.
Ooh, girlfriend.
So, yeah.
Just
I don't
be single
hear
like me, Mitchell.
Yeah, right. He lives with his, so don't believe what he says.
Don't listen to me. I'm a liar.
But yeah, that's about it. What about yourself? Watching?
Well, like I said, I just rewatched Fooly Cooly the other day. I think Fooly Cooly is an awesome anime that you should definitely check out because they it was basically Kill la Kill before Kill la Kill was Kill la Kill, right?
That
It's
intrigues me,
it's
no doubt.
the kind of anime where it's like incredibly action packed, just like holy shit, what's happening? Like it's just so over the top, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's got like a really interesting story and interesting characters and incredible animation. It's worth checking out if you have not yet done so.
All right.
What else I've been watching? I guess on the anime front, I've been a little lacking,
It's all good, dude.
but yeah, I think for now,
Comes
I
and
think
goes.
that will wrap us up. But I want to thank everyone, the hundreds of people who are watching right now. I really want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. The sub train never stops. I should put a sub train icon up here. But I really want to thank everyone for watching, even if you watch the VOD. If you like it, leave a comment. If you hate it, leave a comment. If you think Mitchell sounds fat, leave a comment. And to tell your friends that there are two idiots who are going to be talking every week about dumb shit. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
Mitchell, any last messages, any soapboxes you want?
Soapboxes. Nah, dude. Just go not nerds. We
Yeah.
got see week 6 coming up here.
Week 6.
Gotta get hype.
Gotta get hyped, gotta get back on that winning train, boys. Gotta start winning again.
That's all I got.
Alright, well, thanks again for watching, and have a great night.
Peace out.